A lot of games being played. Let's talk about the difference between chess and checkers. Checkers, that's a reactive game. Chess, that's more strategic. You ever read your Bible? It says that Satan, he the most conniving, manipulative. You know what he ain't? He ain't tactical. He ain't strategic. He dumb as dumps. That's why we dealing with the dumb dump crew. Checkers, I make a move, you make a move, you make the move based on the move I make. It's really reactive. It's a lot different. There they go running. It's a lot different than chess. That means that I'm only really making the move I'm making in order for you to make the move you gonna make so I can checkmate you. Now everybody know if you don't, you really don't want to mess with a little hood boy mama. Now, it's two of them. I've been the youth director of both of them. There is, you ready? This one. This is the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change. Then, there is the Martin Luther King Jr. Association. They created by two women that folk consider to be besties. Coretta Scott King, Cynthia Dolores Nottage Tucker. You know, my spiritual mama. They're both on the board, founding board of something that our black daughters are inspired by right now. What's that? NBCW, National Congress for Black Women. You know, they homegirl Shirley Chisholm, first black woman that ran. Yeah. You know who Mama Nottage bestie is? Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks. You know, they disrespected the mess out of our mamas. I know, and a lot of you have heard, I'm gonna tell you it's true. Kay, you threw all that away from my mama. Listen to me. Yes, I got licensed by Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan when I was 8. All right, I done grown up in here Black Baptist churches, okay? I'm gonna tell you something. When I was born, my mama's driver's license referred to her as a Scott, but she was born a Robinson. But watch this. Let me go a little bit deeper for you. Let me unpack the buffoonery. Amelia is the daughter, Platts. Can y'all make sure you say Platts? Why? Because Mama Amelia was running around fighting for the advocation of black women with her mama Platts before she ever met my grandfather, okay? So let's put some respect on our mama's names. So Amelia is the daughter, Platts. Boynton Robinson is not my grandmother. She not. That's my Uncle Bruce's wife. My father's mother is Pearl E. Jackson. That's who my grandfather started that Dallas boating league with. You follow me? Now, 31 years ago, that's when this institution took a shot at Mama Nottage in front of Tower Records on South Street in Philadelphia. Everybody like, hey, you gonna throw away your whole political and preaching aspirations? Yup. Do you not know it was February 18th, 1965, that Jimmy, watch it, Lee Jackson said, I know what y'all talking about, but in order to respect my mothers, Jimmy ran up in that diner and pulled that racist Alabama state trooper off his mama. Jimmy took 2 shots in the gut. He bled out 8 days later. That was the reason for the Bloody Sunday March. Now, I'll be a little bit upset about the little Donald Trump games. you know, how he be lying with the National Park Service. I mean, literally, dude right now trying to get the National Park Service to lie about how many folk be coming to his speeches. He got some folk in National Park Service to lie. He be doing all kinds of stuff. I be talking about February 18th, 1965, because it was February 18th, 2020, when Donald Trump and Alveda King pardoned a reality TV reject by the name of Angela Stanton King. Changed their name specifically to run against John Lewis. Now, a lot of folk weren't here 30 years ago. I was 15, 30 years ago. So I remember hearing from some of the GOATs, John Lewis, Senator Leroy Johnson. There's a lot of pressure on you at 15 when you become the intercongregational youth leader between Ebenezer and Bright Hope. So you know what calms you a whole lot? Some conversations from a GOAT. Now, I'm going to tell you something. John Lewis, do you recognize how he honored my grandfather's second wife? Like there is no one who honored Mama Amelia more than John Lewis, who honored my grandfather more than John Lewis, who down here, besides Joe Roberts, was more of a homie to my father, Samuel William Boynton Jr., than John Lewis. So there's no way in God's green earth that the National Park Service, under the direction of Donald Trump, gonna put a picture of Isaac, put a picture of Alveda underneath John Lewis. Let me unpack this. This about this 5th congressional district seat. Alveda, we don't know that girl. She had a 1983 come to Jesus moment. She never came back to Ebenezer. Never came back to the theological, philosophical, or ideological positions over here. She got licensed by one of them groups that practices perfectionism. That's a secular religion aimed at making the perfection of human nature, not salvation, the ultimate goal. Let me tell you what was going on in 1983. A lot of work Coretta Scott King put in to make this King holiday. 1983, that's right around when Reagan was signing some stuff. I can tell you about what it's like from a congressional standpoint because my spiritual father, William Gray III, he was still a congressman. You know who some of his congressman homies were? Andrew Young, and John Lewis a little bit later. Now, here's what happened. Andrew was becoming an ambassador, so he had to give up his congressional seat. That congressional seat was supposed to go to Hosea Williams. And then out of the blue, here come ratchet ass, dramatic, looking for attention, Alveda Barber King, who ran against Hosea Williams. Coretta Scott King personally asked her not to run. Andrew Young personally asked her not to run. You know what she did? Ran anyway, split the black vote. We lost that seat. You know who secured that seat? John Lewis. So history kind of repeats itself when we look and we see Alveda do the same thing. Pardon a little buffoonery in order to run against that seat. Now, let's talk about Alveda and Corey. I talk about 93 because that's when Mom and Nada start getting some beef from the institution. But then July, I never shall forget it, 14th, 1994. Now, if you know who Martin Luther King Jr. is, and you respect the fact that none of this would be here, none of it, we would have no King Center at all if it were not for Coretta Scott King. So there's no way, you know, right now we're talking about the fact that Donald Trump had the unmitigated audacity, I got some babies out here, to call Kamala the wrong word to call a black woman. I don't know who you thought you were, but there's nobody who has the ability to wish death, sickness, and curses on Coretta Scott King. That's what Alveda did July 14th, 19 94. You ain't even gotta be hard. You go to her website right now. You go to alvidaking.com, and you know what she proud of that she promoting? Her letter that wishes death, sickness, and curses on Coretta, her kids, and her bloodline. We lost Yoki from sickness. We lost Dexter from sickness. And since that time, that girl ain't never been around here. I'm gonna tell you, the next big incident we had was the assassination attempt on Rosa Parks. That was 30 years ago, August 31st, 1994. Let's fast forward the videotape. The next most horrific thing that took place over here, y'all don't go to AI or Chat GPT and fact check me, was September of 1994. Alveda King had the unmitigated gall to sue Coretta Scott King in Fulton County Court for control of the King Center. Hey, little babies. Y'all enjoy yourself, okay? How in the world could you attempt to, that's where the conversation about the mismanagement of money and all that stuff came from. Now, from that point forward, you've never seen Alveda around anything. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened. And after Coretta shut her eyes, Yoki had a lot of pressure. She felt a lot of weight. And when it came to the next King holiday, 2007, she was the speaker. They had it all set up, and something in the spirit didn't sit right. She said, you know what? I'm not speaking till Kay introduced me. 5 months later, why let they video on me? 5 months later, right? She shut her eyes. Now, I had a decision to make. Because in the same month of May of 07, when Yoki shut her eyes, that's the same month that Fowler, the cop who shot Jimmy, was announced that he was going to be prosecuted. That's the same month that the AD King, Donald Trump funded organization, started doing the documentary on AD. Now, I could have dealt with this issue then, but a major part of my responsibility is paying respect to our mamas. So you know what? I looked at the fact that they owe me as the sweet lady in AD, whatever, so I went along with it. I literally helped them launch this deal. We took 1,000 kids from Booker T. Washington High School. We marched them past the Richard Russell Federal Building that they tried to have me in, well, they did have me inside of. And that's what happened. Let me tell you, a lot of things has taken place over the past 30 years. You know what took place? December the 10th, 2003, y'all fact check it. December the 10th, 2003. That's when, let's make sure we get it. Y'all gonna get it, see him coming. Look, this is a national park. Y'all see, look up the block. Look up the block. Look up the block. As we talking about, you have to get a court order from a federal judge to ban someone from the park. You have to create a narrative that says that a person is being aggressive. You have to do a bunch of things. One of the challenges that we've been having is the weaponization of law enforcement. We talk about December 10th, 2003, when Kenneth Walker was shot. It was the anniversary of that. When I was up inside of the Heritage Sanctuary with some of the tourists of the park rangers. Walked out, and because I didn't want to agree, they had this false accusation that said I had hit an employee of the gift shop. They were then asked, do you want to press charges? No, we just want to make sure KJ's never around here. So then what we got was we got this gentleman, hey, Dunaj, who picked up the report and went further. You know what ended up happening? I got prosecuted in by the National Park Service when he opened that report back up inside of the Richard Russell building. After, when we were about to go to court the day before, I was in the parking lot and I was just doing what any person would be doing, talking. He had one of my friends pull me over. He literally, this officer right here, the supervisor, literally pulled me over right here, had my truck perked right here, and emptied out my truck. gave the perception that I was the biggest criminal in the world. Now, in a federal court, both times that was thrown out. Then afterwards, you see that video where I'm then walking out of the sanctuary. And when I'm walking out the sanctuary, you see that Ebenezer Baptist Church security member pop up just like this one did. Excuse me, ladies, tell me I ain't allowed to be here. Tell me get the frick out of here. I'm gonna get effed up. Call me a nigger. Then we noticed something. After all that, y'all see this, these are church tours. So just one day when I happen to be doing the same thing that I was commissioned to do by all of our mamas, I mean, I got put in this position by Coretta Scott King. I got stapled by her big sister, Edith Scott Bagley. I got stapled by Yolanda Denise King. I got stapled by Naomi King. I got stapled by the great Dr. Willie Christine King Ferris. What's the one difference with me? I was commissioned by our mothers to teach the truth to our babies, and now with this rewrite, you notice when they were prosecuting me, you had the banners of our mothers still under the center. Now you don't have those banners, but everything in the dark comes to light. You see Donald Trump stuff coming out now. You see the truth coming out now, and you know what? You see the weaponization of law enforcement. How in the world can you be on mass incarceration? How in the world can you be on freedom when I'm doing the same thing I've been doing since Coretta shut her eyes? The last thing that Yoki had when she went behind that desk was, I'm not speaking on my daddy holiday until KJ Cope behind his desk. You know why? Because the one thing about all the King kids is Yoki's the only one who went somewhere and did something. So she's got that same detail her mother did. I'm gonna be real with you. You know, Coretta Scott King will sit you down and talk to you for hours. And when she opened her mouth, you know what she gonna make you do? She gonna make you have that promise of nonviolence. That's what I give you when I give you spiritual weapons. Do you not notice how law enforcement come at me in a national park and I'm giving free speech? We're literally dealing with the fact that we just had the superintendent remove AP, African American Studies, from our curriculum. And we got folk rewriting stuff. Folk get mad because every time one of our mothers die, we get a new park authority or what is it, National Park Service superintendent. We got Judy right after Coretta died. We got this, you know, Mama Ferris died, now we got a remix. Guess what? Our history and the truth is not reserved for your political position. If we had to break it down spiritually, if we had to preach it in a way that would inspire our children, this is the reason why Daddy King came up with this statue. This is reflective of roots. It's an old African tradition that says if we were to make the Heritage Sanctuary the pulpit, and we were to make the Horizon Sanctuary the congregation, there's a time when the preacher, the powerful prophetic teacher, steps in front of the pulpit, lifts up a baby, right? Symbolic of one thing. What? The only thing that's more important than the word of God. Instilling it in the minds of future generations. Why? Because they're our children. We can rewrite whatever we wanted to rewrite now that the elders are gone. But you know one thing that Moses said in Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter, the 18th verse. It was God who gave us the ability to have these buildings. It was God who gave us the ability to have these positions. It was God who gave us the ability to have these titles. It was God who gave us the ability to get wealth, not so we could become hoarders, but so that we could be conduits of his goodness, conduits of his mercy, conduits of his grace. He gave us the ability to build these buildings to represent him, so not so we could become idol worshipers. Because if he lift up any idol, he'll shut us down like he did generations before. He gave us the ability to get these buildings, to have this position, to have this influence, so that he could keep the covenant he made with our fathers. You want to know something? When we talk about this Heritage Sanctuary, I'll talk to you about my fathers. But as the last son of the Heritage Sanctuary, I'm going to tell you something. This is not the ground of powerful black men. This is the friggin' schoolhouse of prophetic black women. Jenny Celeste Parks, first baby. Alberta Christine Williams King. Next one, our prophetic big mama, the great Dr. Willie Christine King Ferris. She just shut her eyes. Okay? So y'all excuse me if I'm mourning a little bit. And we got to give a little moment for our prophetic big sister to step up in this covenant between the Boytons and the mamas. It's about first daughters. Bernice nice, but guess what? She ain't the fun town baby. You ain't the Yoki. And Alvita, your daddy ain't never do shit, so you the first daughter of nothing. And we ain't dealing with nothing but the fact that everything you do is for $1. What did Moses say? You can't do both. You can't serve God and mammoth, God and title, God and position. You're going to love one and hate the other. But one of the things that we got to do is make sure we put it in language for our daughters. You know why? So that our daughters understand how inspired and prophetic this moment is. You pushing that Hulu on Rosa, but the reason there's a Rosa Parks room is so our daughters to know about the real rebellious Parks on Peacock. One of the things that we got the opportunity to do is address how the old white institution is attempting to rewrite the story of our mothers, rewrite the history of us as a people. You know, they never outsmarted our elders. One of the things we do in the black church, we know how to keep it going. They might attempt to rewrite everything under the dome, but I'm gonna tell you one of the things that Reverend Dr. Joseph Lawrence Roberts made sure of. One of the things that Senator Leroy Johnson made sure of. One of the things that John Lewis made sure of, that regardless of how they try to rewrite stuff under the dome, when you come by here and you look at this structure, it's designed to look like an African village. You know what we call the hut? You know what that is? Home base, the little black boys. Home base, the little black girls. Home base, a place where we could be reminded of the work that the giants, the goats of the gospel, who went before us, put in. Yeah, I'm returning to the scene of the crime. Have you noticed how it unfolded? Every time I come in this place of a national park, I'm the last son of the Heritage Sanctuary. Excuse me, but as a Baptist preacher, I'm a little bassy. I believe in speaking truth to power. And I don't know how you feel about it, but one thing I love to do, I love to get into good trouble. Now, in the middle of me being prosecuted by this weirdo. Right, shout out to Kamala for calling the weirdos weirdos. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I told you February 18th, 1965, Jimmy Lee Jackson got murdered. You know, when Isaac Ferris Jr. was being interviewed by Don Lemon on CNN, he said he had a personal side conversation with Donald Trump. And then he came back and said he's a media genius. Well, February 18th, 1965, that's when Jimmy Lee Jackson died. You know, one of the things that happens if you're not a real commander, you be wanting to be like a commander. You know what Barack did every year? He pardoned a turkey. So you know what Trump tried to do to try to be like Barack. On February 18th, 2020, he pardoned a turkey. He pardoned Angela Stanton. And you know what Alvita did? Changed their name to Angela Stanton King for the specific purpose of running against John Lewis. Now, a lot of folk, y'all want to know why they so upset. Hey, y'all, why I come through and do that? Because in the middle of them prosecuting, you know, we had all these banners that this was the way this was when Dr. Christine King Ferris shut her eyes. This is the way it had been since Coretta Scott King shut her eyes. These are the banners that Mama Corey put up. These are the banners that Yoki put up. These are the banners that Edith put up. Y'all see it stripped. Y'all, you know, Jose was my friend. He was out here with me when John had to come over here feeling the way he felt. And all these banners that our mothers put here for our children. Who are you to take them down? Who are you to redecorate what Coretta put up? Who are you? Who gives you the authority to take down what Edith had here? Who are you? What gives you the authority? What gives you the friggin' unmitigated audacity to take these down? You know, I'm gonna tell y'all, being my father's son, being the one that was sent down here 30 years ago, when Alveda tried to take over the King Center and literally sue Corey, you know what? If you only knew about me 30 years ago, I'd be scared of me too. That's the power of Coretta Scott and them nonviolent promises. That's the power of the Holy Ghost. He's a redemptive God. That's the power of this Gandhi statue. You know, that was a fellowship that they all had on North Broad Street. That's a fellowship that Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, Martin Luther King Jr., and William Gray III all participated in. And maybe you might not understand what Corey meant in that bar that's up there where she said, "This ain't for the faint. This ain't for the weak." You know, it amazes me how these new folk have rewritten stuff for their profitability. One of the major parts of what made Marty was how he reinterpreted and pointed us further in the slave narrative. He said, "I've been to the mountaintop." He said, I seen the promised land. Then he gave us the drum major instinct. That's called tag teaming attacks. They're both found in Deuteronomy, the 34th chapter. God allows Moses to go up and look over. But God doesn't allow anyone to know where Moses' tomb is. Why? Because we put Moses' tomb on Auburn Avenue, then we're going to turn Auburn Avenue into a Moses assembly plant. We're going to want to walk like Moses, talk like Moses, fart like Moses, preach like Moses. But the challenge is going to become, that's not how our Bible goes. Our Bible goes that Moses died. Martin Luther King Jr. called death life's common denominator. That thing we all call death. Then the Aaron clique kicked it for a little while. Let me unpack that one. Daddy King would say, make that one plain, boy, make it plain. Aaron was related to Moses, but he wasn't chosen by God to go up on the mountain. So Aaron felt a little emasculated. So Aaron came up with that golden calf story. That sounded like Isaac Ferris on the joint with hey, there goes Sergeant Clark right there. There go the gentleman right there who pulled it in twice. To what? To prosecute me. There you go right there. Do you notice when we get free speech in the park? But look, we talking about how Donald Trump manipulating the National Park Service. We talking about a supervisor who should have been neutral, who didn't take a position to enforce a false report, and then create another circumstance thrown out twice by a federal judge. That's who we talking about. And we talking about John, my OG. You know what our fathers taught us? Get into good trouble. Let me tell you why it's like this. Hey, OG, how you doing? Love and light to you.
Thank you.
Sure. Let me show you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
Yes, ma'am. OG, they can't stand your guy. When I come in here and show y'all the most disrespectful thing we ever seen. Ladies, how are y'all? Good. I'm gonna show you. How in the world? You're not gonna disrespect Rosa Parks for the bag. And then everything that John did, how he served us, how he served my grandfather's second wife, you gonna put this here? You got everybody against everything for black folk who ain't never did nothing. Isaac and Alveda on Air Force One getting that whole bag, and you gonna blatantly disrespect John Lewis. You're gonna take down all of everything our mamas put up, but you're gonna make sure to stay. People come over here, our babies right now. You know why? I'm gonna tell you. I'll make sure you see my face, because we got a black woman running for office, and we got an old white establishment scared of black women, doing all that they can against a black woman. And I don't care how you feel about it. You call a black woman a bitch, I would say, you know what I'm talking about? Where you feel like you get that privilege. Where you get that beside yourself. Who was your mama? Who taught you? Where you come from? And you feel like you're going to disrespect Corey?
Can I speak to your secretary?
I'm about to be arrested.
Feel free to hold your phone up. I want to ask you, first of all, you want to express your First Amendment? Sure.
I'm
Want to
sorry.
express your First Amendment rights? You have 3 First Amendment years, right outside the visitor center. But you can't be in here.
Expressing my rights. Okay.
You can't, well, we can control time, place, and manner on the part of it. And people are in here trying to make exhibits.
Sure.
So
I didn't know I was being disrupted. I'll keep my voice down.
Just keep your voice down. If you'd like to step outside, you can talk.
I don't want to step outside with you. I'm intimidated when I'm around you. After what I've gone through with you, I fear for my safety around you. The way that you weaponize law enforcement like that's really having to be looked at. I'm scared when you come around. You've had 2 times that you've arrested me. Both of them have been thrown out by a federal judge. No, you had my friend Isaiah arrested.
But I haven't arrested you.
You actually hurt my truck. You pulled and you put my truck in front of the Horizon Sanctuary and you stripped it, and you tried to say that I had drugs in my truck, but I didn't. And when it got pulled, it got thrown out by a federal judge. You, sir, are a liar.
So that charge was dismissed at
No, that was thrown out from a federal judge. That you did.
dismissing marijuana charge. But we can talk about that.
No, we can't talk about none of it. I'm scared when I'm around you as law enforcement. Like I've been. Okay, I understand. But see, you're trying. Okay, I'm leaving you. I'm scared. Here we go. You see, that's why we talk. I don't want to have no. You see how he popped up? That's what I had to show y'all. Y'all see? He was going outside, but here come K. When I'm coming around, look at how it goes. That y'all had to see it live and live in color. Look, K here. Hold up. Shut down the gift store. Do it all. For what? The truth. Whoa. Come on. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to get shot. Did y'all see how he pursued me? Literally, I've been apart. He had every instance until the one he could come up. Dog, I don't know who this new staff is, but she's obese. Whoa. 2 sides of the National Park Service. One is tourism. The other is law enforcement. Now this new group slid in. Whoa. 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 Fear for my life. No, God don't give us a spirit of fear. He gives us power, love, and a sound mind. We going to court. Y'all see this?